In the heart of West Africa, where the sun blazed down on dusty streets and life unfolded with raw honesty, a story began that would challenge everything we think we know about trust, betrayal, and redemption. Imagine this: a young American woman, lost and desperate, sits crouched beside torn cardboard in Burkina Faso's capital city. Her tangled blonde hair and glassy eyes tell a tale of pain and broken dreams. She is invisible to most, just another face among the chaos. But not to everyone. When President Ibrahim Traoré steps out of his convoy, defying protocol and risking security, he kneels beside her. That moment, a powerful leader reaching out to someone at their lowest, sets into motion a chain of events no one could have predicted. The woman's name is Natasha, and she carries more than just the weight of her shattered hopes. Hidden inside her worn jacket is a secret so dangerous it could topple nations. Trained as a spy by forces far beyond her understanding, Natasha was sent to Burkina Faso under false pretenses. What she didn't expect was to meet a man whose kindness would force her to question every lie she had been told, and every lie she had told herself. The stakes are high, and the tension crackles, like the heat rising off the pavement. This isn't just a story about espionage. It's a deeply human drama about choices, courage, and the power of compassion. President Ibrahim Traoré is no ordinary leader. Known for his humility and unwavering dedication to his people, he embodies a rare kind of strength, one rooted in empathy rather than fear. His decision to take Natasha into his home sparks immediate concern from those around him, especially Yakuba, his ever-watchful assistant. "Sir, this is reckless," Yakuba warns, his voice laced with frustration. But the president simply smiles, reminding them all that true leadership means seeing the humanity in others, even when they seem like strangers or threats. As Natasha begins to adapt to her new surroundings, the audience can't help but wonder, will she find redemption, or will her past catch up with her? Natasha's journey is anything but straightforward. Once an eager participant in a shadowy program designed to manipulate and control, she now finds herself caught between two worlds. On one side are the handlers who trained her, men and women, with cold eyes and colder hearts, who see her as nothing more than a tool. On the other side stands President Traoré, a man who refuses to let fear dictate his actions. Each day spent in his presence chips away at the walls Natasha built around herself, revealing glimpses of the person she might still become. Yet the silver chip hidden in her coat serves as a constant reminder of the mission she was sent to complete, a mission she now loathes but cannot escape. As Natasha navigates this moral labyrinth, the narrative introduces viewers to the vibrant culture and resilient spirit of Burkina Faso, from bustling markets filled with laughter and music, to quiet villages where children chase dreams despite the odds. The setting becomes a character in its own right. It's here that Natasha begins to understand what real leadership looks like. She watches as President Traoré dances with elders, listens intently to farmers' concerns, and promises solutions without hesitation. These moments contrast sharply with the cold calculations of her former world, leaving her increasingly conflicted. Can she betray a man who has shown her such profound humanity? Or will duty to her handlers win out, but time is running out? Unbeknownst to Natasha, her refusal to plant the chip has triggered alarm bells thousands of miles away. A backup operative named Derek Lane has been dispatched to finish what she started. Cold, calculating, and highly skilled, Derek represents everything Natasha thought she wanted to be, until she met President Traoré. The arrival of this second agent adds a chilling layer of suspense to the story. Who will find Natasha first? Will Derek succeed where she failed? Or will Natasha finally confront the darkness she left behind? The tension reaches a breaking point during a public event in Kudugu, where President Traoré is scheduled to open a new health center. Thousands gather to celebrate hope and progress, unaware of the danger lurking in their midst. Natasha, now working alongside the president's team, scans the crowd with a mix of dread and determination. She knows Derek is out there, watching, waiting, and then, just as the ceremony begins, their eyes lock across the sea of faces. In that instant, Natasha realizes the battle ahead won't just be fought with gadgets or weapons. It will be waged over loyalty, truth, and the kind of future she wants to build. What happens next will leave you breathless. As Natasha steps forward to protect the man who saved her soul, she must also face the ghosts of her past. Will her newfound courage be enough to stop Derek and expose the conspiracy threatening Burkina Faso? Or will the shadows of her old life consume her entirely? One thing is certain, Natasha's transformation from pawn to protector is far from over, and the choices she makes will ripple across continents. This story isn't just about spies or politics. It's about the power of second chances. It's about how even the smallest act of kindness can plant a seed of hope in the darkest corners of our lives. And it's about the resilience of the human spirit, which can rise above deception and despair to create something meaningful. So stay tuned, because what Natasha does next will surprise you and maybe even inspire you. As the days passed, Natasha found herself torn between two worlds. On one side was the man she had been sent to betray, President Ibrahim Traoré, a leader who radiated kindness and integrity, someone who saw potential in her when no one else did. On the other side were the shadows of her past, the handlers who had trained her, lied to her, and now expected her to complete a mission that felt increasingly impossible. Every morning, as she joined the media team to document the president's work, she wrestled with guilt. Her camera captured moments of hope, the laughter of children at a newly built school, the gratitude of farmers receiving tools. But behind every smile she photographed, there loomed the weight of what she carried inside her coat, the tiny, silver chip. The chip wasn't just a piece of technology. It represented everything Natasha had once believed in. Back in Washington, she'd been desperate, alone, and vulnerable. The recruiters had promised her purpose, money, and adventure. "You'll travel, learn, grow," they'd said. What they hadn't told her was that she would become a pawn in a game far bigger than herself. They called themselves watchers, observers tasked with gathering intelligence without causing direct harm. But Natasha knew better now. If she planted that chip in the president's office, it wouldn't just monitor his activities. It would destroy him politically, economically, and perhaps even physically. And yet, despite knowing this, she couldn't bring herself to confess. Not yet. She feared losing the fragile trust the president had placed in her. Yakuba, ever watchful, noticed the change in Natasha long before anyone else did. Where once he had seen only suspicion, he now saw hesitation, and something deeper, fear. He cornered her one evening in the garden after dinner. "You're hiding something," he said bluntly. Natasha froze, her fingers gripping the edge of the bench where she sat. "I'm not," she stammered, but Yakuba cut her off. "Don't lie to me. I've worked with the president for years. I know when someone is carrying a secret." His voice softened slightly, though his eyes remained
sharp.
"If you care about him, if you truly want to protect him, you need to tell us the truth. Whatever it is, we can handle it. But if you wait too long..." He let the sentence hang unfinished. leaving Natasha to imagine the consequences. That night, Natasha lay awake staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. She thought about Derek Lane, the man whose name had appeared in the intercepted message. She remembered him from training, a cold, calculating operative who excelled in blending into crowds while remaining invisible. If Derek was here, it meant her handlers weren't taking chances anymore. They didn't trust her to finish the job. The thought sent a chill down her spine. For weeks, she had convinced herself that she could delay, that she could somehow find a way out of this mess without hurting anyone. But now, faced with the reality of Derek's arrival, she realized how naive she had been. Time was running out, and if she didn't act soon, both she and the president would pay the price. Meanwhile, President Traoré remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him. To him, Natasha was simply a young woman trying to rebuild her life. He admired her resilience, her willingness to learn, and her growing passion for photography. During their conversations, he often spoke of his own struggles, the hardships he endured as a soldier, the sacrifices he made for his country, and the lessons he learned along the way. Leadership isn't about power, he told her one afternoon as they walked through a village marketplace. It's about service. It's about seeing the faces of your people and remembering why you fight for them. Natasha listened intently, her heart swelling with admiration and shame. How could she ever repay such kindness? The tension reached a breaking point during preparations for the upcoming event in Kodagu. Security teams swept the area multiple times, checking for threats. Natasha, disguised as a member of the press, rehearsed her role over and over again. She memorized Derek's face from the file Yakuba had given her and practiced spotting potential, hiding spots for weapons or devices. Despite her efforts to stay calm, her hands trembled whenever she picked up her camera. She knew what was at stake. If she failed, the president's life would be in danger. If she succeeded, she might finally earn the redemption she so desperately sought. On the day of the event, the atmosphere was electric. Thousands of people gathered under the bright African sun, cheering and clapping as the president arrived. Natasha moved through the crowd, her eyes scanning every face, every movement. She spotted Derek almost immediately. He stood near a water tank, adjusting a tripod-mounted camera, casually, as if nothing unusual was happening. Her breath caught in her throat when she noticed the small black remote tucked into his pocket. Without hesitating, she whispered into her communication device, "He's here. Near the tank. Black shirt. He has a remote." Chaos erupted moments later. Guards surged toward Derek, but he was faster. With a smirk, he locked eyes with Natasha. Then many villagers screamed and scattered as he pushed his way through the narrow streets. Natasha dropped her camera and sprinted after him, her legs burning as she wove through the chaos. She refused to let him escape. Finally, Yakuba appeared from the side, tackling Derek to the ground. The two men wrestled briefly, before Yakuba managed to grab the remote and toss it aside. Natasha rushed forward, kicking it away for good measure, then picked it up. Inside was a tiny red button. "Armed and ready, you were sent to finish what I refused," Natasha said, glaring at Derek as guards pinned him down. "No!" Derek spat back, his voice laced with venom. "You betrayed the mission." Natasha shook her head, her voice steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "No, I betrayed the lie." Back at the residence, the aftermath of the confrontation left everyone shaken. President Traoré praised Natasha for her bravery, calling her actions heroic. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she hadn't done enough. The lies she had told still hung heavy in the air, and though the immediate threat had been neutralized, she knew the battle wasn't over. Somewhere out there, her handlers were watching, waiting, plotting their next move. And Natasha? She was ready to fight back, not with deception or fear, but with the truth. The confrontation with Derek Lane left everyone shaken, but it also marked a turning point for Natasha. As the days passed, she threw herself into her work with renewed purpose. The president's decision to entrust her with leading the youth development project was not just an act of forgiveness. It was a challenge, a chance for her to prove that people can change, that redemption is possible even in the most broken souls. Natasha knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The lies she had told and the betrayal she represented still lingered in the minds of many, but every child who smiled for her camera, every elder who thanked her for helping rebuild their village, chipped away at the walls of doubt surrounding her. Word of Natasha's transformation spread quickly, both within Burkina Faso and beyond its borders. Journalists from around the world began arriving, eager to document the story of the American spy turned advocate for peace. At first, Natasha avoided interviews, unsure if she deserved the attention or praise. But President Traoré encouraged her to step forward. "Your story isn't just about you," he said one evening, as they sat together under the stars. "It's about hope, about showing others that no matter how far we fall, there's always a way back." His words resonated deeply, and Natasha agreed to share her journey publicly, not for fame, but to inspire those who might feel trapped by their own mistakes. As the global initiative gained momentum, Natasha found herself traveling across Africa, meeting young leaders, activists, and dreamers who reminded her why this mission mattered. She visited schools, spoke at conferences, and organized workshops focused on leadership, empathy, and resilience. Everywhere she went, she carried two things: her camera and the journal President Traoré had shown her months earlier. Its pages became a constant source of strength, especially when self-doubt crept in. Even the smallest kindness, she often reminded herself, could plant a seed of hope. Back in Ouagadougou, life continued to evolve. The president remained steadfast in his vision for the country, balancing progress with compassion. Yakuba, once skeptical of Natasha, now worked closely with her, recognizing the sincerity of her efforts. Their relationship grew from one of tension to mutual respect, proof that even the hardest hearts could soften over time. Together, they ensured the security protocols were updated, making sure nothing like Derek's attack would happen again. Meanwhile, Aisha and the rest of the media team celebrated Natasha's success, treating her like family. The bond they shared, I felt unbreakable, forged through trust and shared purpose. One day, during a ceremony to inaugurate a new community center, President Traoré surprised everyone by calling Natasha to the stage. The crowd fell silent as he handed her a microphone. "This woman," he began, his voice filled with pride, "came to us carrying secrets and pain. Yet she chose to stand with us, to fight for truth instead of fear. Today, she stands as a symbol of what we all strive to be: brave, compassionate, and unyielding in our pursuit of justice." Natasha fought back tears as the audience erupted into applause. For the first time in years, she felt truly seen, not as a failure, not as a liar, but as someone worthy of love and respect. But the story didn't end there. Months later, while reviewing footage from a recent event, Natasha noticed something unusual. Hidden among the frames was a familiar face, one she hadn't seen since Washington. It was the man with gray hair, the same recruiter who had trained her years ago. He stood in the background, watching, his expression unreadable. Panic surged through her veins. Had they come for her after all? Was her past finally catching up? She showed the photo to Yakuba, who immediately alerted the security team. After hours of investigation, they discovered the man had entered the country using false credentials. But instead of fleeing, he approached the embassy, requesting asylum. When questioned, he confessed everything. The program Natasha had been part of, the true intentions behind targeting President Traoré, and the lengths they had gone to silence defectors. His decision to surrender stemmed from guilt, he claimed, though Natasha wasn't sure she believed him entirely. Still, his testimony provided closure, allowing authorities to dismantle parts of the shadowy network that had manipulated her. In the aftermath, Natasha realized she couldn't outrun her past completely. But she also understood that running wasn't the answer anymore. What mattered was how she responded to it, with courage, honesty, and a commitment to protecting the future. She continued her work, undeterred, knowing that every life she touched helped weaken the grip of those who thrived on fear and division. Years later, Natasha returned to the village where President Traoré had first taken her to witness the real Burkina Faso. The mango tree under which they had sat still stood tall, its branches heavy with fruit. Children played nearby, laughing and chasing each other, unaware of the battles fought to ensure their safety. Natasha leaned against the tree, closing her eyes as the wind rustled through the leaves. In that moment, she felt at peace. When she opened her eyes, she saw a little girl staring at her curiously. "Are you Madame Natasha?" the child asked shyly. Natasha nodded, smiling. "Do you want me to take your picture?" The girl grinned widely, nodding enthusiastically. As Natasha raised her camera, she thought about how far she'd come. From a pawn in someone else's game to a builder of bridges, a keeper of stories, a beacon of hope. And as she clicked the shutter, capturing the innocence and joy in the girl's smile, she knew she had finally found her place in the world. For viewers tuning in, Natasha's story serves as a powerful reminder that second chances are real, but they require effort, humility, and faith in humanity. It's also a testament to the transformative power of kindness and the importance of standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. If you connected with this narrative, please consider sharing it with others. Stories like these remind us that no matter where we come from or what we've done, we all have the capacity to change for ourselves, for each other, and for the generations to come. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for more inspiring tales. Until next time, take care.